2009, the internet birthed a faceless figure hidden in the shadows of grainy photos. What started as a joke became a chilling legend whispered in nightmares. This is the haunting mystery called Slenderman. The first time you notice him, you don't. He's a smudge at the tree line, a taller than possible blur that your eyes file under branch. Then you see him again, in an old photo behind children on swings, where no one remembers a man standing. You blink, zoom, crop. The figure remains, faceless and pale, a hole punched through the human pattern. On forums lit by midnight monitors, he gathers shape. Posts become sightings, sightings become proofs, proofs become rules whispered like playground dares. He watches, he waits. Don't look back, don't run. Kids swap drawings in crayon. Long arms, black suit, no face. And teachers call it a face until the sketches multiply. He is the rumor the woods taught the web to speak. Ask 3 people where he came from and you will hear 4 answers. A prank that learned to breed. A spirit that needs our attention to feed. A modern tulpa built from fear and bandwidth. Something older dressed in newer clothes. You promise yourself it's fiction. Then your window reflects a room with one shape too many. We tell ourselves monsters need eyes to see us. He doesn't. We tell ourselves names protect us. His name is not a name. It's a direction our gaze can't hold. Step outside. Feel how the air thickens at the edge of the yard, as if the night is leaning in to listen. If you stand where the porch light dies, the forest looks back like a face without features. Only height, only hush, only the sense that you have already been noticed. That's how Slenderman arrives. Not with a footstep, but with a correction in what you believe is possible. It began not in the forest, but on a forum. June 2009, the Something Awful Photoshop contest. Users were told to make paranormal images that felt real. One user, Eric Knudsen, under the name Victor Search, uploaded 2 black and white photos of children. Behind them, a stretched figure in a black suit, featureless, standing motionless in the background. The captions read, "We didn't want to go. We didn't want to kill them." And one of 2 recovered photographs from the Stirling City Library plays. Date unknown. A joke, that's all it was. But the internet had already changed the rules of myth-making. Within days, other users added new photos, new stories, new eyewitnesses. Slenderman stopped being a post and became a shared hallucination. A creature whose existence was crowdsourced. On creepypasta forums, stories multiplied like spores. Each retelling changed small things. Tentacles here, telepathic whispers there. But the silhouette stayed the same. The absence of a face. The shape of fear itself. People began seeing him where there was only static. He hearing them when their recordings glitched. Then came Marble Hornets, a YouTube series that blurred fiction and reality. Home video style, grainy, quiet. A student filming a project gone wrong, chased by something tall in the woods. It wasn't labeled as fiction. It didn't need to be. The audience filled the blanks. Slenderman had crossed the screen. He no longer belonged to his creature. He belonged to everyone who stared too long into the dark of their monitor and thought they saw motion. By the end of that summer, he was everywhere. Fan art, forum signatures, roleplay threads, deep web chat rooms. A million storytellers, one faceless witness. And so, from code and fear and loneliness, something digital began to feel alive. By 2014, the story had grown teeth. It was no longer confined to screens and sketches. Somewhere in Waukesha, Wisconsin, two 12-year-old girls whispered the legend-like scripture. They believed the Slenderman was real, and that he demanded a sacrifice. On a quiet morning, they lured their friend into the woods. The trees stood still, as if listening. Then came the knife. 19 times. She lived. Barely. When police caught the two girls hours later, they were calm, almost relieved. They said they did it to become proxies for Slenderman, that he would take them to his mansion in the forest, that he would protect their families if they obeyed. The world gasped. What had been born in pixels had spilled into flesh. The line between myth and memory snapped. People demanded answers. How could a fake monster make real people bleed? Was this mental illness, or had something darker passed through the cracks of belief itself? Psychologists said it was shared delusion, mass suggestion amplified by internet isolation. But the whispers online told another story, that the girls were simply the first to listen. The Slenderman had found a way out, one imagination at a time. In the aftermath, parents banned forums, schools blocked sites, but the damage was done. Slenderman was no longer a story you could scroll past. He had entered the modern folklore cycle, half cautionary tale, half mirror. Every generation has its myth. The internet was wearing a suit. They called it the slender sickness. Headaches, static, the sense of being watched through screens or trees. Every flicker of light in the corner became suspect. People online began reporting dreams, the same dream, a faceless man standing just beyond the reach of lamplight, arms slightly open, waiting. Psychologists labeled it pareidolia, our minds inventing patterns. But believers said something else. The Slenderman is a tulpa, a being created through thought and fear, feeding on attention. The more people searched for him, drew him, mentioned him, the strongest he became. It was a haunting updated for the digital age. Ghosts no longer needed graveyards, only Wi-Fi. The internet had burst its first supernatural virus, one passed not by blood, but by curiosity. Videos began appearing online, footage of forests distorted by glitching static. Anonymous users claimed the clips were proof. Others said they could see his shape hidden in data, like a curse within pixels. People stopped going into the woods alone. Some even stopped sleeping near their windows. Slenderman had become an idea that infected fear itself, a story that refused to stay still. You couldn't touch him, you couldn't prove him. But when you thought you saw something tall just behind your reflection, you didn't breathe until you looked away. He is not a monster in the forest anymore. He is the forest. He is the stillness before your screen turns off, the blank white glow that lingers after a page loads. The more we say his name, the more he listens. Now the myth lives quietly, disguised as nostalgia. New generations discover him on YouTube compilations and top 10 urban legends videos. But every few months, a post appears on Reddit or TikTok. Look closely, he's there. A figure behind a fence, a silhouette between trees, a shadow in the reflection of a bedroom window. The fear has evolved. He doesn't need believers anymore, only viewers. Every click, every pause on an image is another heartbeat in the dark. People claim their devices glitch when they search his name for too long. Files distort, photos smear, text breaks apart into binary gibberish. Some call it superstition, others call it digital haunting. The internet remembering its first ghost. In this new age, Slenderman has become more than a character. He's a symbol of loneliness, of our hunger for stories that make us feel seen, even when the thing seeing us is faceless. Maybe he was never meant to scare children, but to remind us how easily imagination can turn into faith, and faith into fear. So we close our laptops, pretending we are safe, but the dark reflection on the screen still lingers a second too long. The shadow doesn't fade with the monitor, it waits, somewhere in the static between frames. And when the night feels too quiet, we look over our shoulders, half smiling, because part of us still wants him to be real. The Slenderman myth began as a joke, a Photoshop contest thread on June 10th, 2009. But 15 years later, the laughter has faded, replaced by something colder. He no longer belongs to one creator or community. He belongs to the web itself, the first ghost born from code. In every era, fear finds a mask. Ours found a suit and a tie. We thought we made him up, but maybe myths make us. Maybe they rise whenever people stare too long into the dark, waiting for something to stare back. The real horror isn't that Slenderman might exist, it's that we needed him to. A reminder that the line between fiction and faith is thinner than pixels, and the stories once told never truly die. So when the static hums, when the lights flicker and the screen turns black, remember who's waiting on the other side of the signal. And just like that, the mystery deepens. What if the internet didn't create Slenderman, it remembered him? Comment below. Until next time, stay curious.